cameras roll, time to break the mold. No more silence, every story's gotta be told. Truth in the air, no filter, no disguise. Real talk, real change, we open up your eyes. We got the voices that are changing the game. Fearless, unchained, calling our names. From the struggles to the rise, we expose, we ignite. No topic too deep when you step in the light. We got the ventures, spotlight at your truth be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. Lessons we learn, voices of the people, let the fire burn. Dr. Donna, Dr. Laxley, leading the way, guiding the truth in a world full of gray. Experts, activists, voices untold, everyday heroes with stories so bold. This is more than a show, it's a movement, a spark. To the dark, we got the voices that are changing, be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. Step into the spotlight, let your truth be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. We got the voices, spotlight, let your truth be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. And if you want the real, then tune in right now. We're breaking down walls, no backing down. One mic, one voice, one mission tonight. Step into the spotlight, let's get it right. Let's get it right. Head to the spotlight. Let's get it right. What do?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to In the Spotlight. This is the home of unfiltered conversations where real talk is what we do. I am none other than Dr. Donna Thompson.
And I am Laxley Stephenson. We are your moderators. Some people say we're your fearless moderators. Donna, we have a guest moderator tonight. She's on stage with us.
Yes.
Yes, I'm here. My name is Theresa Drayton, and thank you so much, Dr. Stephenson, Dr. Thompson, for having me tonight for tonight's conversation.
You
We
are so welcome. Go ahead, Donna. You talk, Donna. You know, you.
No, I'm just telling her that we're happy. We're happy to have her here with us because we can't do this conversation by ourselves.
And it's so good to have a fresh perspective, a fresh voice. You know, her first time on, she's watched us before. In fact, just last week, she was watching the show. And look, tonight she's on.
And I'm here tonight.
Wow.
Talk about a collision with purpose. In motion. So it's a movement, right? And I was listening to the song, This Is More Than a Show. It is a movement. That's that song, Donna. Was that you singing, by the way?
No.
because that voice sounds sure like yours.
I am not even going to take credit for that. Or
I was about to ask you to just give us a quick verse.
oh, see?
Real quick.
I
Right?
do not take credit for that.
So, Theresa, how you doing? How you doing, Theresa?
Doing well, doing well. Had a great day today. Did some community service work downtown Atlanta. Worked at the cleaning and mopping, but it's part of service. So I had a good time serving the people of Atlanta.
Isn't that
Nice.
awesome? Right up our alley, Don, and that's what we like to hear, and that's what we're built for. We're built for that. We're built for that. So, Theresa, just share a little bit about yourself. Just a little.
I am a mother. I am a sister. I am a friend. I'm a neighbor. I'm currently working as a registered nurse, and it's Nurses Week, Healthcare Professionals Week this week. So just been celebrating all week. Been nursing for about almost 20 years. So I've worked in hospitals. I worked in the community. And right now I work behind the scenes, kind of where I like to be. Behind the scenes, giving resources to members of a health plan. So that's what I've been doing now, case management. So been enjoying that as well.
Awesome. Awesome. And I like that you went downtown Atlanta and you did your thing. Because we need more of us doing that.
Yes, I went.
We need more of us doing that. And I know that's what it's all about for Donna. Donna is a servant leader. Mm-hmm. So are you, and I like to fit in that mold as well, because that's what it's all about, giving back. Hi, Elizabeth, Sitawa, Kisiangani, thanks for joining us all the way from Kenya, and I'm not going to say why aren't you sleeping. It's actually 7 hours ahead. We really appreciate you joining us. We have a powerful conversation tonight, but before we go there, Donna, I am going to drop this thing here on the screen, and if you do what you do so well, explain it for us.
All right. So yes, so our trip is coming up, Collision with Purpose, or 2025 Kenya Community Outreach, that will be taking place this coming June 6th, as a matter of fact. So it's less than 30 days. Just a few days. But this outreach is very important because it's where we will be providing sanitary towels for 2 schools with girls in Kenya. And, like we said, each week, it is something that is very important to be doing, because there's something that we take for granted. It's like it's not something that they look at, that it's a need for the girls, right? And unfortunately, sometimes they just have to do all different kinds of things to get their supplies. So that is one of the initiatives that we have that is taking place. And then the next thing we have the toilets, where we will be building 2 toilets as well. More than likely when we're there, of course, it's, the time frame, it's not going to, be completed, but we should be breaking ground when we're there for that. And we'll be visiting some orphanages as well, so that, we can kind of do, we're going to be doing a food outreach at some of the orphanage, and we have a clothing outreach that we'll be doing as well, and also some dental care packages that we will be providing as well to the community. And one of the great things that we'll also be doing is we'll be doing planting trees. So we'll be doing some nature stuff, giving back to, nature, and to help protect our environments. We'll be planting trees. Then here we have this wonderful, phenomenal book that we see on the screen here, Daily Insights Unveiled. Now, this is really, really important. If you have not purchased your copy, or if you have purchased your copy, go ahead and purchase a second copy, because this is really important. This is where, if you purchase a copy of Daily Insights Unveiled. A portion of that proceed will go to help us to fund these initiatives that I just mentioned, because of course, even though they're great initiatives, it does cost, right? You have to have funding in order to do these things. So by purchasing a copy, you're also supporting the initiatives that we'll be doing in Kenya. And Dr. Stephenson went ahead and posted the website. We want you to go ahead and just go to our website to purchase your copy. You can purchase it on Amazon, but for this, we ask you really not to, because if you purchase it from us, then we can put more into the initiatives that we have that's taking place there. So go to www.acollisionwithpurpose.com/daily-insights-unveiled and get your copy today. And I'm asking everyone to just, go out there and support us, right? If you, like I said, if you got a copy of this book, go ahead and get a second copy. You can gift it to someone. It's a great book to have as well.
Yes.
And that's what we have coming up.
And in fact, Dr. Donna, any of our books that they purchase on our website, we will use a portion of the proceeds to fund the retreat. Because all these things we're doing in Kenya, it costs money.
Yes, a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. There's money well spent, right? Mm-hmm. So, all right. So tonight we have a show, right? Tonight we're going to be talking about something: letting go to grow, the courage to release what is no longer serving you. How big is that?
Ooh-wee.
And we should invite. This is an interactive session. While we are on the panel, anyone watching can join us. I will post in the questions, and so we encourage you to join us, right? Mm-hmm. Let it be a conversation. Let it be a dialogue. Of course, we want to hear from people across the globe, because it's a different perspective, depending on where you're from. So it's so important. But before we get this thing started, let us take a quick break. And we'll come back in a minute.
I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I wake up in the morning and I praise the Lord. I thank Him for His protection, and I walk in His steps, declaring that today's provision is set up for me. I love God and I love my friends. I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid. I put on my armor and I read His word, blessing come out of my mouth, cause I know to whom I belong. I am bold for Christ, Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. Loving others as He told me to pray, for healing, miracles to see, knowing my identity in Christ, He is in me. I am a bold kid, He loves me, standing firm on His word, proclaiming everything I heard, not afraid because He is with me. Be bold. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. Put on my armor and I write His word, blessing come out of my mouth, because I know to whom I belong. I am bold for Christ, Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid.
Right, welcome back to In the Spotlight, where it's raw, unfiltered, nothing is left on the table. We have with us tonight Theresa and Dr. Donna, and we're going to be talking about big stuff. By the way, we have a new pope.
Yes, we do.
We have a new pope. Saw some white smoke coming out of that building. Yeah, new pope, an American.
All right.
Yes.
So anyway, tonight's conversation, right, is if you have ever felt stuck in a place where you no longer belong, if you have ever clung to something so tightly, not because it was good for you, but because it was familiar, tonight's conversation is for you. It's going to be a discussion, and it is a check, a soul check. So, and we have all, I believe, been there, right? Holding on to friendships that turned into chains, staying in roles that quietly suffocates our growth, and praying for new doors while refusing to close the old ones. You know, how do you expect newness when you when you're not willing to give up the old ones, right? So here's my question before we even get started. What if the very thing you're praying for is waiting on the other side of your release? So tonight we're going to confront the hard truths, right? We will peel back the layers of fear, guilt, and living in survival mode to ask a simple question. What are we still holding on to that is holding us back? Right? What are we still holding on to that is holding us back? As you all know, it takes courage to let go, right? It takes some faith to grieve a dream, a role, or a version of yourself that no longer serves who you are becoming. But I want anyone out there listening tonight, make no mistake, release is not the end, it is the beginning. So I want you to lean in, let us get real, let us free ourselves. Because the breakthrough that you've been waiting for is coming tonight. All right, so as we always do, we like to engage our audience. So I am going to post the gist of what we're going to talk about tonight in the chat. Let me post that in the chat. And what it's saying is sometimes the breakthrough we are waiting on is being blocked by what we're too afraid to release. So let's just mull on that for a moment. Donna, what is that really saying?
You know, it's really just telling you that because of fear, it's like you know when something is not you know when something is not good for you and it no longer serves you any purpose. You really do. But it's fear. It's fear of, and I think it's fear of a couple of things, right? Depending on what it is. It's, you know, fear of the unknown, and also releasing comes with emotional pain, because there is a pain, there is a process that it's like a loss. There is a process that you have to go through, and it's a painful process that you have to go through, and you have to be ready to go through that. You have to be ready to really face that and go through that whole emotional journey to get to the other side. So I think it's a combination of several things, because we all know when something it no longer serves us.
So we know that it's not serving us, but yet, Theresa, why do we hold on to it when we know?
Yeah, I think for me, just echoing Dr. Thompson, is a fear of failure. That was one of my fears. Fear of failure, of not being perfect, of not doing what I perceive is right. Fear of what others may say, or judgment. And so I think stepping out of the norm is a fear of failure.
So fear of failure is a big deal. And, you know, Alberta said memories. Memories. Yeah. And what if we're holding on because it's easy to hold on.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. But there's the risk with that is it's also costing us, right, our peace if we're holding on. So big stuff there. That's just a lead off. So the real question here is, what have you been holding on to out of habit, fear, or guilt, knowing deep down it is slowly destroying you? And I'm going to post that in the chat as well, because of course this is a conversation not just for us, but for anyone listening and watching our show today. And we ask that you share the live. If you're watching it on YouTube or wherever you're watching it, we ask that you share it, because we really don't want to contain this information for ourselves only. We want to spread it out there. So what have you been holding on to out of habit, fear, or guilt, knowing deep down it is slowly destroying you?
Ha! Oh my God. I feel like I'm on the hot seat. Wow. I mean, like for me, I know I can think of several things, but do I have to be specific?
No, just put it out there. Give us the general thought. Sometimes it's not easy to put it out there as it is, but we appreciate any response. Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, I mean, I know that I've personally hold on to certain relationships, the friendships, right? Or even, even family relationships, to be honest with you, that I know it's not serving me any good. And I think, like, for myself, I find if it's something where it's like a stranger, like someone I don't really know, you don't matter kind of a thing. I mean, hate to say that, right? But I find that it's easier for me to let go and move on from those relationships when you see the red flags. But for the ones that really, they're close at home and they're really in your inner circle, it's more difficult to cut ties with those relationships. And because some of it is like feeling like, okay, I could do more to fix this. Like you start analyzing these things in your head, like, okay, what could I do to make this in a relationship that it's, more healthy, type of a thing. So I know I struggle with that.
Yeah. Let's hear from Theresa. Your thoughts?
I think that I've been holding on to being too comfortable in the space that I'm in now. And I think it definitely holds me back from opportunities, possibly from meeting new people, being in new spaces. It may be holding me back from fulfilling my purpose, which I'm still discovering. But I think just being stagnant, being comfortable, definitely, affects me.
I like that, because that comfort zone is a dangerous place to live.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing with relationships, right? We get comfortable with our relationships, and often they're good relationships, but are all good relationships good for you is another question.
Right.
So you can have a relationship and it's great and it's working, but is it the relationship you need during this season of your life? So I believe I trouble from that as well. It's one of the things that I need to understand better, because what if you have a close family member and they're awesome, but you're heading in a different direction? How do you manage that? Because you don't get rid of a good family member. How do you work a situation like that? Maybe that's another discussion, right? Maybe that's another discussion. But so one of the questions is, why do we cling to relationships, habits, environments, or mindset that keeps us stuck? And that's the question that I would like to leave with anyone watching us tonight. To take that with you, process it a little bit, because all of us here in this panel, we've been guilty of that at one point or the other in our lives. And I would venture to guess that anyone watching us tonight, if they are honest, they will say they've also experienced that. So something to think about. Alberto again said, friends that do you no good. Friends, and Shaquila Williams said, hello, thanks for joining us. And Kevin Kersey said, comfort earlier. And we want to acknowledge everyone who's watching us tonight. And we really appreciate you joining us. All right, let's move to the next question, because we have a few questions that we want to discuss tonight. And this one is, the theme here is when the signs are loud, but we still stay silent. I'm going to post that because that is a big thing. When it's so obvious, right?
It's like screaming at you. Oh, gosh.
It's screaming at you, but yet you're still silent.
Mhm.
All right? When the signs are loud, but we still stay silent. So think about that while we post the question, right? What red flags have you been ignoring because you are afraid of what life looks like on the other side of letting go? Donna, you've done very well leading us off.
Oh,
What red flags have you been ignoring because you're afraid of what life looks like on the other side of letting go?
I know for myself, I have like just ignored a whole lot of red flags. A whole lot of red flags. And you know, it's kind of, and everyone's different, right? You know, everybody's different. You know, it's just for me, like I value the relationships I have. You know, if I bring you in my circle, I pretty much almost like start taking you as family and treating you as such. So when I start seeing things, the red flags, I try to ignore it. But well, that's not real. I didn't. No, that's not real. You know, like you have these conversations in your mind. You know, I'll have these conversations in my mind, like, no, maybe it's this. Once again, you're making up all these excuses and all this stuff to try to justify a certain behavior or a certain treatment. When in fact it's hard to face it. It's difficult to face the truth. Because when you face the truth, then you may have to make a decision, and you may have to make a decision that you don't necessarily want to make or like.
Even when it's obvious, even when it's screaming out at you.
Yeah, even when it's obvious, because once again, if it's a relationship that you've built and you value, it's a painful thing to have to sever ties with such a relationship. It's a painful thing. It's a process that you have to go through. And you have to be ready. You have to be ready for it.
Have to be ready. All right. So Rosemary, my friend Rosemary, she said, understand the need to move in the direction that you're driven to go. You don't lose a family member or person you love for that reason, but living your truth is important. It's coming so fast. Despite how painful it is, I can't keep up with the comments. So thank you, Rosemary. And by the way, congratulations to Rosemary. Her son graduated from college today, and that's a big deal.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Kevin, great job. All right, so let's see. Before we go to you, Theresa, Sitawa said, sometimes we stay in chaos just because it is familiar, not because it is right. Making a decision might be hard, even when you need to be out. Ain't that the truth? And Alberta said, change hurts. Well, what hurts more? The change or staying in?
Right.
And the thing is that both, right? Both hurt because both come with some
pain,
some level of pain. Exactly.
But exactly. One you're getting rid of.
Right.
What you know, the known, because it's bad, right?
Right.
And you're walking into the newness. And as we said earlier, can you release before you let go? And these comments are coming so furious, I can't. So it says
fire tonight, I see.
Rosemary said, thank you all. Yes, you're welcome. Giving more to a friendship than you get back from it. So true. And so Roxanne, thanks for joining us. And Felicia, thanks for joining us. It is the fear of change and the unknown of what comes after. So let's hear from Theresa.
Yeah, so I think my red flags are more internal because I'm very critical of myself. And so for me, going back to the thought of being perfection and making sure everything is right and making sure the pillows on the couch are correct, making sure my son is taken care of, making sure I'm up early on Saturday cooking breakfast, pancakes, eggs, just trying to fit into a role of being perfect. And the red flags I was ignoring was getting headaches, not sleeping at night, feeling drained, feeling tired, feeling like I'm about to burst. And so what my fear was asking for help. Because if I ask for help, then it doesn't look like I have everything in control. And so I had to learn how to ask for help.
Can you say that again? Because I think more people
I
need to
had
hear.
to learn how to ask for help. And it doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean it means you need help. And that's not a bad thing. Because you need those relationships, you need those friendships, you need those family members, in those times.
So you're saying if you those are the place where you believe that if you ask for help, you don't have things in control.
That was my thought.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, Shakila said the same thing, but she wrote something here. We talk about the two pain, right? One is when you're getting rid of it. And she said, my divorce hurt, but the peace I have is imaginable. So she went through the pain, the burn, to get to a place where she's saying it is imaginable. So that's something, if you're watching, please pay attention to what was just said, what Shakila said, because that is so important. All right, so we're going to have to move on here. These things are coming at us, Donna, and we appreciate you sharing. So here are some things that we must pay attention to, right? If you're ignoring the fact that every time you interacted with certain people, they make you feel smaller. If your spirit feel uneasy, something is happening. All right. And if you constantly have to prove your worth, take a good look at the relationship, right? So you need to understand that red flags generally don't turn green. They stay red. All right. So let's move to the next thing is letting go feels like loss, but is it really? And I'm going to post that again in the chat, right? Just for us to process that for a minute before we go to the question. And it is letting go feels like loss, but is it? Are you losing anything? Maybe. All right. So the question is, can you allow yourself to grieve the life you thought you were building, even if it wasn't aligned with your true purpose? And let me post that. Can you allow yourself to grieve the life you thought you were building? You're building this nice business, this whatever you're building, even if it wasn't aligned with your true purpose. Is it serving you is a question. Dr. Donna?
Oh. I have to think of these questions out of my head first. Okay, so the question is, can you allow yourself to grieve the life you thought you were living or you were building? It's very important. You have to grieve. You have to go through that whole grieving process. If it's something that you're losing, because we have to look at every everything we encounter in our life, everything we do, it's a stepping stone to build us to who we are. So every experience, it's going to have some type of an impact on you, whether good, bad, or indifferent, whether it's good or bad. So if it's a relationship that it's just not a good relationship and you have to let go of it, you are going to have to go through that grieving process. You're going to have to go through the anger, the feeling of loss, the feeling of betrayal, the feeling of pain. You have to go through that grieving process so that you can allow yourself to heal, so you can embrace the newness of what's coming, so you don't take that over into your next chapter or your next page in your life. So it's important to go through those emotions and heal from it.
And let's say you're in a relationship, right? Man, woman type of thing, and you didn't grieve, and so you carry all that stuff into that next phase. Can you imagine? So, Theresa, let's pass that question to you.
Yeah, I agree. You have to let yourself grieve, and it may feel like a loss, but it also can allow for growth. It can allow for peace in some situations. And it can allow for you to be vulnerable in that situation. And so you definitely have to go through that grieving process.
All right. Before I add to that, let me read a couple of comments. Welcome, Lisa. Thanks for coming back and joining us. You know, Lisa is our #1 person out there in the world, Donna. So welcome her back.
Oh, hi, Lisa.
All right. So Rosemary, this thing is starting to move, so I can't keep up. Rosemary have an interesting comment. She said, red flags don't turn green, they stay red. And sometimes their flashing light is blinding. We ignore the signs.
Very true.
She said, I'm not going to read the last part. And Shaquille said, I've grieved and felt like Joel, but I am relinquishing my will for God. Amen. And Lisa said, you can't open new doors with old keys. How about that? So you got to, when they change the lock, because you need different keys.
New keys.
And so our friend Sitawa said, sometimes purpose evolves and letting go isn't failure. It is faith in what is next. You let yourself grieve. It will bring a lot of peace. All right. So I have something here I want to share, right? And Donna and Theresa, not only can you must. All right. And here's why it's important. Acknowledge grief becomes hidden baggage. When we don't grieve what could have been, the relationship, the career, the plan, whatever it is, we silently carry disappointment, shame, and resentment into our present life. And what weight slows down growth like that? The baggage, right? Mm-hmm. And another reason why we must is letting go without grief leaves a wound. It's not even a scar. You know, scars, the difference, and I'm going to post this, right? The difference between scars tell a story of healing. Wounds fester when we pretend we're fine. So I want to post that because I think that is important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me put that out there. I want to leave this with our folks who are watching us tonight. And scars tell a story of healing. Wounds fester when we pretend we're fine. True growth begins when we acknowledge that version of life meant something to me. You've been living this thing all your life. It's important. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to say goodbye to it, even though you must.
Right.
Even though you must. And one last thing I want to add to that is purpose requires space and grief clears the way. How true is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You need space to grow. And when you grieve, you flush it out. You flush it out. All right. So let's move to you are not who you were forced to become to survive. Let me post that. All right. Let me post that. You are not who you were forced to become to survive. What is that really saying? You are not who you were forced to become just so you can survive. talking about a life of necessity, right?
Right, right. And I think that's really based on life circumstances. I'm thinking, right, if I'm getting this correct. You live a certain way because you're in survival mode. You're in survival mode. You got to pay the bills. You got to do this. You got to do that because life happens, right? Life is life, and life happens.
Mm-hmm.
But deep down, whatever that life is that you're living because you're in survival mode, there's so much more to you, because chances are you're not living a purposeful life. You're not living your true purpose. You're doing these things because it's almost robotic. It's muscle memory because I'm in a survival mode to live. So you miss out on who you really are, what you really, that butterfly, you miss out on that butterfly moment. Right.
Butterfly moment. So before we go to you, Theresa, Donna, let me jump in there. So I remember, right, was it 2008, 2009, when the economy crashed? And someone like me landed in survival mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, what can I do now? And not a bad thing, but I said, I need to repurpose myself. Mm-hmm. And I ended up repurposing myself in a career that I went and I got a degree in computer networking. Not to say it's a bad thing, but for me, it was not in alignment with my purpose. All because survival.
Right.
I've never touched that thing because I didn't even like it. I did it out of necessity. So that's what we're talking about, right? That's what we're talking about. You are not who you were forced to become to survive. And that's an amazing career path, but is it in alignment with who you are? That is really the question. So when we talk about opportunities, and this is just a sidebar thing, not all great opportunities are good for you.
For you.
That's something we want to leave with anyone watching. Not all great opportunities. So you must assess your opportunities, make sure they're aligned. They're in alignment with who you are, where you're heading, at least where you believe you're headed. So Theresa, we pass it to you.
Yeah, just to add on, when you're in survival mode and you're acting out of necessity, you don't have that clear head that to kind of slow down and think about what path you're taking in life, where you need to go, because you're going. So how you get out of that cycle, I mean, you have to break the cycle somewhere. But I think that when we're in that survival mode, we're forced to make quick decisions that may not always be the best for us. So
yeah,
something to think about. Yeah.
Even when we're in whatever other mode we do that.
That's true too.
All right,
so it's thought out though.
So Shakila said, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I'd say Miss Williams. All right, she said that. Oh my God, it skipped me again. Donna, help me.
Oh, she said I needed to hear this tonight. Very true.
Right. She said these are some great gems. Sitawa said you're not who you were forced to become. Survival shape you, yes, but healing, choice, and truth get to define you now, today, right? Mm-hmm. And Rosemary said a wound that, if properly treated, often do not leave a lasting scar. When you ignore and the festering seems to heal, the ugly scar stays with you and affect your life and behavior going forward. And by extension, it affects other people as well.
Right.
Affects other people as well. So the question, however, is what roles have you outgrown that are now suffocating your growth? What roles have you outgrown that are now suffocating your growth?
Whew. I know I have definitely outgrown the role of I think I have outgrown the role of being everything for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I love that answer, Donna.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Theresa, I don't always want to be the strong one.
I was going to say the same thing.
The one who never perceives as needing help or never break down. It's what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. That person, that persona it's cool. It serves its purpose. But we don't always want to be that one, right?
Mm-mm.
And one of the things that I'm learning by being through our movement here, the collision with purpose, because indeed I want to say it out loud and clear. This is a movement, right? It's a movement. It's a movement to uplift. And and Shakila said it. She needed to hear this tonight. That's what a collision with purpose movement is about. It's for enlighten, right? Enlighten whoever is ready to hear the word. And so I am learning that I don't have to always be the strong one. There's growth in not being that person. Not being that person. So Theresa, let's pass it to you.
I agree, and I kind of echo the same thing. And it's kind of interesting. I took a sound bath class, if you're familiar with that. So you kind of go into a room, you're on the yoga mat. It's almost like a meditation, and they do the little sound with the bowls. And so the instructor, one of the things she was speaking about is about always being strong, always, and we hear the word resilient and think that that's a great thing. And she's saying, what if we don't always have to be resilient? What if we don't always have to just bounce back right away? Why can't we just be angry in that moment, be sad in that moment, allowing ourselves to just be and not be forced to always just snap back and get back into it and keep going and keep, just allow yourself to feel in that moment. So I thought that was interesting.
Very. And I think we need to take a break. We've been on pretty close to an hour. And of course, we say time is moving. And this is an example of why time is moving. Because when you're engaged doing impactful things, time move, right? So let's take a quick break and come back and we'll pick it up. And I'm going to play this. I don't even know if I should call it a video, this song video, this story. And as I'm playing it, Theresa, pay attention, because we're going to talk a little bit about it, because this is about everything that we're talking about tonight.
Caught in the web of what they said, lost in the expectations, living in hesitation. I walked in other shadows. Deep inside, a fire burned, a whisper turned to a roar. I am liberated from walking in other shadows. I walk in my authentic self, breaking chains within. From the shadows to the light, a new life begins, shining so bright. Society tries to mold you into someone you couldn't be, fighting through the darkness to find the real me. No longer bound by others' rules, let your spirit soar. With every step you take, you are stronger than before. I am liberated from walking in other shadows. I walk in my authentic self, breaking chains within. From the shadows to the light, a new life begins, shining so bright. Breaking away from the shadows within, I rise up and shine from deep within. A beacon of light I'll always be, living in truth, walking in victory. I am free, yes I am free. From the shadows to the light, I am free, walking in my truth, forever free, living in victory, shining brightly. I am liberated from walking in other shadows. I walk in my authentic self.
All right, welcome back. What a way to end that, right? I walk in my authentic self. Welcome back to In the Spotlight. Letting go to grow. The courage to release what is no longer serving you. Let's talk about that piece, Donna. Can you explain what that is all about?
Oh, yes. So that will be a body of work and anthology where we'll just have several co-authors sharing their story. Essentially, exactly like what we're talking about now. It's really, the life that we've lived, just, it being walking in other people's shadows, or just even in our own made up shadows in our head, or society, what we think we're supposed to do, ought to be, how to act, how not to act. And really getting to a point where you're just breaking all those chains and really becoming liberated, and really just picking up who you are supposed to be, who you're created to be, and walking in your true purpose, and just being authentic in who you are, and being comfortable in the skin that you're in. And I think I look at this body of work, I look at it almost, the pain that you go through, just look at it where at the end you're just this beautiful butterfly. It's like a caterpillar. You go through all the hard things just to end up here to this magnificent, beautiful life. And that's really what it's all about. That work is all about, is just breaking those chains.
Theresa, your thoughts?
Well, just with the being authentic, your genuine self. I think that has some difficulties when you're in certain environments, when you're at work, when you're at church. You feel like you need to put on a certain role. But I think once you get to the place where I am who I am, and you can realize that, and you're self-aware, I think you can get to a place where you are at peace. And it's not just a cliche, it's I'm at peace. And so I think working towards that is important.
Absolutely. And as Donna said, this is a body of work, an anthology. And Donna, you want to extend an invitation for anyone watching us that would like to participate?
Yeah, sure. So like we're saying, it is an anthology. And if you feel that this story resonate with you and you like to share your story with others, definitely reach out to us. You can email A Collision with Purpose, or you can email myself. We'll put that in the chat where you can get in touch with us. And if you're interested, just let us know if you'd like to be a part of this work. The first episode, probably the first book, really, I should say, is going to be, we're looking at approximately 22 authors, co-authors. So it does give you an opportunity to share your story and have a team that you can work with, and you work through some of these things. Because, once again, change for anyone, it's difficult. It can be difficult, and you're sharing your deep thoughts and feelings and all those different things. So having a group that you can lean on and a team to support you to write your story is great. And, you realize that once you write your story, it no longer, it doesn't hold you anymore. You're no longer, it's like you're not in bondage of it anymore, because it's for whomever it's going to help and heal. So it's always good to share. So yes, if you're interested, just let us know.
Let us know. You can get in touch with us easily, right? We're everywhere. We're everywhere. We're on Facebook. We're out there in the world, right? Right. So I want to leave, before we get to the next question, I want to leave something. Here, and it is to let you know that you are allowed to evolve, even if others like the older. And we use the word smaller version of you better, not in a negative way, but you are allowed to evolve. So just know that. And I think that's the shadows thing that Donna is talking about there. And Donna, you said something that is so interesting, because you can make up the shadow in your own, these crazy, whatever these things are in your own head. And Theresa, you said that you was playing in your head. You was doing some work in your head, right?
Yes, my internal red flag. Yes.
And did I say that right? You was playing in your head. And did I say that right, Donna?
Yeah, you can make them up in your head as well, and
you can make them up in your head. Wow! So yes, so just know that. Now we're almost at the hour, right? So we're going to try and keep it moving. The next segment is on make room for what you're praying for. I'm going to post that. Make room for what you're praying for. All right. Make room for what you're praying for. Why is that important? Why is it important?
That's extremely important, because if you're if you're praying for something and you're not making room to receive it, then where's it gonna go when it comes? It has nowhere to go. So
No,
right, it has nowhere to go. So whatever you're praying for, you got to figure out the things that you need to change and get rid of and purge within yourself, so that when that thing comes, it's coming into a brand new vessel and you have all the space and room to glorify it. But if you have all that junk inside, then where's it gonna go? You got to get rid of the clutter.
So before we go to the question, well, that's not a question, right? Theresa, your thoughts on making room for what you
I'm laughing because just this last week, I've decided to make room. I'm guilty of mindless scrolling on social media, even though social media is great for platforms, but just the mindless scrolling. And so after you know it, you've been on social media for hours, and it's like, what have I done? What benefit has this given to me? And so I have put restrictions and limits, and I'm clearing out room for other things that would benefit me and put me in a different mindset and space that I know is going to put me on the direct path to where I need to go. So just eliminating some of those things that don't serve me any purpose.
So thanks for sharing that. Eliminate things that don't serve purpose. And that's the general theme of what we're talking about tonight, right? And Alberta said that if you do not believe what you're praying for, is there any reason to pray? That's a different conversation right there. Right? That's another conversation that we're having. So let's move to the question, though, because the question is, what blessings have you unknowingly blocked because your hands were too full of what you were afraid to release? You're carrying the wrong load. Donna, you've done such a great job all night, leading off.
You going?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm quite sure that I'm guilty of that, of blocking some of my blessings without knowing it, because I've always felt like I have to be in control of something and make it work until the end, work it until you can't work it anymore, and not not releasing something when it serves you no purpose anymore. So I know I'm guilty of that. Now, to tell you what blessings I don't know, but I'm quite sure I've lost some.
Let me do something a little bit different before you answer. All right, I'm going to put some things in the chat. Right, and I think that will add something for us to talk about. But before I do that, let me see. Elizabeth said, make room for what you're praying for is actually a powerful reminder that faith must be paired with action. It means preparing your life mentally, emotionally, physically, and or spiritually for the very thing you're asking for. I am praying for healing. My mindset is of wellness. And we're with you on that, Elizabeth. We're praying for healing, and our mindset is on wellness, specifically where it applies to you. All right. So this is what we're going to do now. Imagine if you're praying for peace, but you're still making room for people and patterns that brought chaos into your life. Would that make sense?
No.
And that is really tapping into what, who was that said that? If you don't believe what you're praying for, there's no reason to pray. It's almost like, why are you praying for something with your actions?
Right.
Are not there. Let me drop another one in there. I was asking for joy, but refused to release resentment. There's a contradiction there, right?
Very much so.
There's a contradiction there. And Lisa said you have to decree and declare over your life. There's some powerful interaction. Is amazing tonight, Donna. Theresa, you brought it? You brought it with you?
I don't know.
You brought the interaction?
You put all your names.
Because
This is great.
it is, sometimes I'm reading, Donna, and I'm like, where is it? Where's that thing I'm reading? So here's another one. I wanted a healthy relationship, but hadn't not
You,
from the last one. And
yeah.
I'll drop one more in there, all right? Oh, this one.
These are great comments.
Yes, amazing stuff. All right, and here we go. So Donna, I'm putting it out there. Some of this is coming from the Wake Up Call, my new book, The Wake Up Call. So if you're some of these things that I'm posting in here, it's actually a book that Donna we're working on. It's a series, a four book. What do you call it, Donna? You're the expert. When it's 4 books, what do you call it? That's what it is. What do you call it, Donna? Well, it's 4 series, right? Volume 1, volume 2,
volume. Okay.
Right. And it's an exercise where you do, in 30 days, you do 1 exercise, 1 lesson, or 30 days worth of single day lessons, right? Mm-hmm. And then after you graduate to the next level, and I guarantee you'll be a brand new person. So these are coming from that book or that series of books or volumes of books. So that's what we're dropping on you tonight. All right, let's move to the courage isn't loud. It is the quiet decision to choose you. That's what courage is. Again, this is coming from the book, The Wake Up Call. And I think this one came from the elite something or another, Donna. So courage isn't loud. It is the quiet decision to choose you. All right. Talk to us about that, Donna. All right, Theresa, you want to go first?
Yeah, Theresa.
Okay. Courage isn't loud. It's the quiet decision to choose you. I think that you don't have to boast choosing yourself. The decision to choose yourself means you don't have to feel guilty of taking care of yourself. You don't have to feel guilty of taking on others' problems. And you don't have to feel guilty of establishing boundaries. So I think that speaks for itself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Donna, before you jump in, thanks for that, Theresa. Before you jump in there, Donna, I want to leave another, you call him nugget. And here it is. If you want new fruit, you must be brave enough to prune the dead branches.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Donna, go with that. Courage isn't loud. It is the quiet decision to choose you. What are we saying there?
Just like what Theresa said, you don't have to be boastful of making changes. But I know that I can reflect for myself is making a conscious decision to choose myself and the things that I do without having to go out there and say, oh, I'm I'm, not doing this anymore and all this stuff. It's just that, just quietly you're doing that introspection and you're really reflecting on who you are and what you really want for your life and just making those small steps to choose you. And I think that's where that quiet part of it comes in, because sometimes it's not like you're just stepping out there to say, oh, this is the brand new me. It's work. And you have to do a lot of introspection. And there is a lot of quiet moment that you have to spend with your time. So with yourself, so that you can make those small steps to choose yourself.
So it's that you got to learn how to set boundaries, right? Without having guilt, right? And one of the things that a lot of us suffer from is how to say no without a long explanation.
Right.
Right? So let me ask the question here. What would it look like if you stop betraying yourself for the comfort of others? What would it look like if you stop betraying yourself?
I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. And I think and that's just for me, once again, just for myself, because I have majority of my life, I have tried to make sure that if I say yes to doing something, it's because my heart, my soul, my spirit is at peace with it. And I'm okay with doing it. If it's something where I say yes and I feel uncomfortable and I'm struggling with it and I have to be pretentious and all these different things, I am okay with saying no. But like I said, that's just for myself personally.
And so you're living it, or you're experiencing that.
Yeah.
Theresa, are you experiencing that? Are you living it?
I'm getting to that moment. I'm getting there. I think somebody said something about feeling guilty doing self-care, but I was the same way. But I'm getting to the point now. I don't feel guilty about taking care of myself. I don't feel guilty about having those moments to myself and being able to be quiet and doing the things that I like to do. And so I think it would look nice. It would be nice.
That's so interesting. Donna, I think you should book a conversation with Shakila, because she said, I've always felt guilty doing self-care. So that's a conversation there, because many of us have that problem. But guess what? The first step is to recognize it.
Right.
That it's a problem. Because indeed it's a problem. And, Sherry said it's hard. And Lisa said you could get a lot of things done. And Sherry said it would be beautiful, right? And Lisa also said that I don't know how to say no, but I'm practicing that. And Elizabeth said it is a call to choose you, even if it makes others uncomfortable, because their comfort shouldn't cost your wholeness.
Wow.
Stop agreeing when your soul says no. All right? And I want to leave this. Sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do is walk away with no applause, just peace. Sometimes the bravest thing. Not always now. And here is something else I want to leave with you. And again, this is coming straight from, that I hope you don't mind me putting it out there, straight from the book. I didn't get your permission. It's important to share. You said we need to share and be kind.
Yeah, sharing is caring. So hey.
Did you tell me that? Did you say we should share and be kind?
Yes.
It's a lot more. We have a lot more of this where this is coming from. And I think it's important. We're sort of, all right, so the version of you on the other side of letting go will say thank you. Even if today's version is terrified. And that is often the case. Right? Today's version is like, the new you, who you are becoming, will be so much in alignment with you. And everybody will live happily ever after. And Sherry said, I pray for peace every day, don't we? We need to all be praying for peace. Right? So I think we have one more question, because the time is going by so fast. And the other side of release is resurrection. Let me post that. And we've been talking about praying so much that that's a good one to drop in there. And Donna, Theresa, what is that saying? The other side of release is resurrection.
I think just eventually being able to let go of what we said, of what no longer serves you, and being able to come out on the other side stronger, better, in a different mindset, and so just being able to let it go.
Donna, I'll just move to the question, okay? In the interest of time.
Mhm.
In the interest of time. What if everything you've been waiting for is on the other side of obedience, not comfort? That's a question. What if everything you've been waiting for is on the other side of obedience and not comfort?
And that's where sometimes you have to be brave and step out on faith.
Mhm.
Because you're not, if something is tugging at you, telling you to do this or let go of this, and you keep getting those messages, you know, sometimes you're not going to have all the answers of you're never going to have the answer on what's on the other side, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes it really just require you to be brave and step out on faith and be open-minded to accept what's coming on the other side.
Have you ever had the experience when you're achieving everything, but you're not happy?
Mhm.
Things are coming your way. Things are coming your way. You're comfortable, but you don't feel fulfilled.
Right.
Mhm.
Mm. Right. Something to think about. Theresa, your thoughts?
I think that to get to the other side, you're going to have to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, space, maybe around people in awkward situations to get to the other side. If you stay how you are, if you stay comfortable, if you stay stagnant, if you stay mediocre, then you're not going to have change. You're not going to have change. So you have to make yourself uncomfortable and be okay with that.
And true growth, if you're doing the same thing you've always done,
Mhm.
I get up, I do what I do, I satisfy I complete my tasks, I do it again tomorrow. Are you growing? Are you growing, or do you have to be challenged? Do you have to step outside of the box, outside of your comfort zone? You have to be stretched. And if you can't stretch your own mind, then you have to, find yourself in the crowd where there's mind stretching going on. There are people who can pull you up, drag you along. Sometimes you have to literally drag you, right? Because you're resisting it, because being comfortable is a nice feeling. It's a good feeling to be comfortable. But what I believe is important, we have to find our new comfort level. So we got to move it from here and bring our comfort level up to here. And then when we maximize that, we bring it up to here. I'm off the screen, right? You bring it up there. That's what we have to do. And that's when you know you're truly, truly growing, right? Because I'd rather say you get the same results, you keep doing the same thing. So understand that letting go isn't the end of your story. It is the turning point of your story. It's the turning point, right? And one more thing, because we get in real, Donna, like when we stay schedule. Donna, you can tell Donna in this, she's a disciplined one, right? She's the one that is disciplined. Insanity is doing the same thing. Yeah, that is so true. All of us we tend to be insane, right? So we tend to do that quite often. And so here's what I call the impact statement, right? You're not losing, you're leveling up. When you make a turning point, you're not losing. What you're truly doing, you're leveling up, right? All right, so reflection time, right? Final reflection, not just for us, but for our audience. And we have had a good one tonight after that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Powerful. So here it is right here. What are you still holding on to? Let me drop it in here. And I want to leave this with our audience tonight. I want you to take this and reflect on these questions. What are you still holding on to that is holding you back? If you had the courage to release it today, what would open up in your life tomorrow? Are you brave enough to let go so you can finally grow? So if you want to type your comments in the comment section, please do so. Donna and Theresa, reflections. Theresa, and final thoughts, Theresa.
The tonight's conversation has been thought-provoking. A lot to think about of what's holding you back. What can you change? What do you need to let go of? Am I brave enough? What uncomfortable situations or do I need to put myself in? And knowing that change is good. Change is not always bad. Change is good, and it can open up for growth and other opportunities. So it's a great conversation.
Well, it is a greater conversation having you here with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, and we want you to come back. By the way, we don't want this to be we don't want this to be a one-off thing. But I see a trend, right? As we're closing, more people are signing on. But we can't stay here forever, unfortunately. But I know you will say what you need to say, But Theresa, as I said earlier, you made this conversation blossom with your presence, and we appreciate that. We appreciate you coming on. And I know it was a bold step for you.
It was.
But you see what happens when you make bold steps, right?
Yeah, we had an outside conversation, so it was definitely a bold step for me to come on tonight. And so my initial response was, no, I'm not ready. No. No. And then we had a conversation, and I said, you know what? If I don't do something different, then I can't expect different results.
And when you told me you're not ready, what did I say?
You told me I was ready. No, you told me to think about it. You said no pressure. You said that. And then I said, no, I'm going to do it.
Right. But I also said you're ready, but no pressure.
Correct. Yes.
And you're here, and you did an amazing job. You was just the perfect person to be on tonight. All right. So let me say hi to my friend Hilda. So true. Embrace the unknown by being brave. Thanks for joining us, Hilda. And thanks for joining us, everyone who joined tonight. Rosemary said, hold on to your fear. Hold on to fear, the fear of losing a lifestyle that you love, the fear of the unknown, the fear of drastic change. And it just went off the screen. All right. Good stuff. All right. So let's take a sacred pause, right? You've heard the questions. You've felt the tug. Now comes the choice. Are you willing to loosen your grip on what has been draining you so you can finally embrace what has been waiting for you? Sometimes we make mistakes and we in seeing comfort as peace. But true peace doesn't come from clinging on to stuff. It comes from trusting that when you let go of the familiar, you make space for the divine. You are not weak for walking away. You're not selfish for choosing your healing. And you're not lost for leaving behind a version of yourself that was only built to survive. Tonight, we didn't just talk about growth. We made a decision to grow. So I want to leave you with this. What are you still holding on to that is holding you back? If you had the courage to release it today, what would open up in your life tomorrow? Are you brave enough? Let go so you can finally grow. The other side of release is, we said it earlier, resurrection. Let today be your beginning. I turn it over to Donna.
All righty. So I would like to say, Theresa, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for leveling up. And more opportunities is just going to come just from this one step that you've made, right? So much more is going to happen. So you're on the right path. And of course, you're more than welcome to, come back, have conversations with us, you're always invited to be here. And then I would like to tell all our listeners, I see that everyone has been so interactive. Thank you so much for staying on with us this Thursday evening. Thank you for taking part. Let us know actually how you like these Thursday evening platform, how we're doing things. You know, we love the engagement. So we definitely would love to have your feedback. And if anyone's out there and you would like to be a co-host, you know, definitely just let us know. You know, send us an email. Let us know if you'd like to be on the platform as well, so we can have these in-depth conversations. We definitely invite you because, like we know, you know, Dr. Stephen said, this is a movement. It's not about us. It's about all the lives that we will impact and all the people who we can help them, you know, go from stuck to being productive and being positive and moving and leveling up in their lives, right? So thank you for joining us this Thursday evening. I would like to tell you all to go out. Tomorrow is Friday, so go out and do one act of kindness for someone that you do not know, coffee, donuts, whatever it is. Just find a stranger and let's go ahead and, you know, spread some kindness. Let's start making kindness infectious throughout the world. You'd be amazed that your one little act of kindness can become infectious and start changing things in your own communities. And have a wonderful remainder of the week. And oh, for all our mommies out there, you all have a wonderful, wonderful, happy Mother's Day. And that is all I have for you guys tonight.
Step into the spotlight.
Couple lights on, cameras roll. Time to break the mold. No more silence, every story's gotta be told. Truth in the air, no filter, no disguise. Real talk, real change. We open up your eyes. We got the voices that are changing the game. Fearless, unchained, calling our names. From the struggles to the rise, we expose, we ignite. No topic too deep when you step in the light. We got the